Well, it seems Nintendo is stepping at it again, or more so, the Pokemon Company is going forward and making a strike on a channel out there on YouTube. Now, things are kind of weird on this one, and I honestly don't know where this is going to lie. There's Nintendo's fan content policy, there's fair use in this matter, and what are we talking about here? We're talking about a Call of Duty game that was reskinned with Pokemon. Now, before we get into this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, do all those fun things. Let me know down below, because I am truly kind of lost on this one. And I'm gonna call this out here because the first thing this content creator is pointing at right now, who is Noah J, warning to all content creators: if your videos feature any sort of modded Pokemon content, I would delete, unlist it ASAP. Do not delete anything. Don't delete YouTube on this case. If you are a content creator and you've done something like this, where you've reskinned everything in the game to Pokemon, do not delete that content. The reason for that, if you delete it, you have no recourse against a strike, and you have no possible way of resolving the strike. So when you delete, when you get a strike in this case, like he's getting here, first off, this is something from 7 years ago. 7 years this has been on YouTube. It's garnered hundreds of thousands of views, and it's a very strange tale. What he did here, this person played a game of Call of Duty where all the zombies were Pokemon. They were Charmanders, they were Pikachus, they were all sorts of little random creatures. Now, when it comes down to that, is that an IP violation that it seems that they're going on against here? We've received a manual copyright removal request for your video. Based on applicable copyright law, we removed the video from YouTube. Now, this is a standard thing. If you get a manual review on any video on YouTube, they will instantly take it down. They will take it down and you will receive a strike. Now, in most cases, you can fight these strikes and appeal it. Video title: New Pokemon Zombies. Now, the content used, they're claiming Pikachu, Gengar, Meowth, and Meet the Mewtwo were all models and skins from Nintendo, or the Pokemon Company in this case. They have an email there. This means your video can no longer be viewed on YouTube, and he's received a strike on this. Now, what do you do in this case? You contact the email. Straight up, you contact the email and talk to them and say, listen, what's going on here? Why are you striking my content from 7 years ago? And how do we resolve this, is what you need to do. This is one of those courses where you need to go there. Now, can this actually be something that Nintendo can sit there and hold up? Would this be something that would fall under fair use? And with fair use, there you got like the 4 rules of fair use that you kind of got to follow, and the one in particular where does it replace the IP in this case, and I don't think it does. Then there's also their content policies for Nintendo, for Wizards of the Coast. We've dealt with these content policies. They don't mean much. They would have to be pushed to a court of law to actually mean something more. So it's the content policy, that's out the window. I wouldn't even follow any of that unless you've actually signed up with it and done all the legal jargon, because in a lot of cases, those policies that are out there are just something that are put out there by the company and says, if you pretty much show our work in a bad way, we're going to go after you and all this other stuff if you've caused us harm in that case. This, however, was, I believe it was just a very harmless video, where the zombies were going around and they're climbing up on the ground and they look like Pikachu. You got Pikachu being a zombie across the screen, and you're shooting them as if you're playing Call of Duty. So it comes down to, at what point does this IP violation go? It's not, Nintendo doesn't own Call of Duty at all. They have nothing to do with that. Same with Pokemon Company. They do hold the IP over Pikachu and stuff like that, but you're not exactly selling this skin to make monetary value. Sure, there's a little bit of ad revenue that comes in, but that ad revenue isn't really, it's not replacing the IP in that sense. If Nintendo wants to go after that ad revenue, if it's got 100,000 views on it, they're going to go after a couple $100, which in a lot of cases isn't even worth the copyright strike and going to the courts over. A simple cease and desist, or just say, hey, listen, can you take this video down? We don't like it. We believe it violates our IP. Now, I don't know where that really lies. I don't know if he was contacted by Nintendo. It would have been very good if they had tried to do that to resolve it outside of going the copyright strike route in this case. Now, when it came to Pokemon, and this has been a big thing in the news, is Power World. Power World coming out being a very Pokemon-ish sort of game, but they've skirted the line away from the copyright. They've used everything of their own. Even if they were inspired by Pokemon to create their monsters, it still doesn't come down to saying they take a direct cause and effect from Pokemon violating their copyright. Now, with Nexus mods, which I know we've spoken about a lot here on the channel, there was a situation here where a Nexus mod came out where they had reskinned Power World to look like Pokemon. Now, that in itself, when you now have Power World and you reskin it as Pokemon, now you're looking at something else that falls into the category of copyright and falls into something that replaces the Pokemon name and replaces their IP as those skins. But in this case, you're reskinning Call of Duty. You're reskinning zombies. You're not reskinning a game to make it look like it was a Pokemon game. You're reskinning a game that is just kind of a fun, unique way to show off your skills in a Call of Duty game, and that unique gameplay kind of stands out on their own. So does that really draw that line? Is that the line where we're going now to actually have copyright, where you can't even depict the characters of Pikachu, Meowth? And that's where I'm not even sure. I think if they went to the courts, a judge would sit there and have to listen to the arguments, and then it would come down to where the courts lie. Would they lie with Nintendo because Nintendo has all the money in this sense? They might. Or would the courts in this case sit there and tell Nintendo, no, you're wrong in this case? And I wouldn't be able to tell you at this point, because it doesn't exactly replace the idea of the IP. You're not exactly making money off of it in a direct way. You're more playing Call of Duty, and it's being reskinned that way. This is a very strange argument at this point, and I don't know where I would lie on any of this. And I would have to say, because I don't know where I lie, you would have to default to the defendant in this case, and it wouldn't go, it wouldn't stand on two legs. YouTube now will have to deal with this. Noah J here will have to either appeal it or accept it and take a strike for 3 months. Honestly, I would try and resolve the strike, and if it's a simple email to Nintendo and say, hey, listen, let's talk this out, let's figure this out and see what they want to do, and hopefully they don't turn around and say they want restitution and damages over something like that, because if they do, then I wouldn't blame Noah for appealing it and trying to take it into courts and let it go that route. Where does this one lie? I'm not entirely sure, but this is certainly something going on in the Pokemon community. Anyway, I'm your proud Canadian Phoenix, Cindershadow. I'm signing off here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully I can follow up with this one if there's something more that comes out of it. It's a very interesting tale here right now with Nintendo, especially with them being in taking down the emulator software over Tears of the Kingdom. That one has a lot more details with it. Nintendo actually could claim damages. The game, the emulation of the game came out about a week before the game was released. So they have a legal footing on that one. This one, I'm not quite sure. You're reskinning a game to make it look like you're killing Pokemon. To me, it just looks like a fair use, fun, unique way of showing off a game. I don't see this being as a big copyright issue, and I see this as kind of Nintendo just kind of flexing their muscles because they took down the one on Nexus Mods over Power World, and they've been in the news for a lot of other things. So let's continue this. Let's see how far we can push this, is kind of what I think on this one. Anyway, have yourselves a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe.